Back of the Bus podcast coming to you with another X-Men Red review. This is going to be issue 2. I believe the title is Who Can Tame the Red Planet? This issue is starring Storm, Magneto, Sunspot, Abigail Brand, Cable, and Vulcan. Vulcan is going to be the center of what we got going on here. Before we jump into the book, though, let's give a big what up to our squad homie always here, always doing the reviews with us. I ain't saying, I'm just saying, Mr. Theo B.
Yo, what's going on? Shout out to my man Marcus once again. Congratulations. Newlywed. Newlywed. Congratulations, my brother. Congratulations to
Thank
you and your lovely bride.
Thank you so much, man. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
that.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. All right, man. So let's break into the book. So first page, got a call back from War Kings, also from the earlier X-Men issues of with Jonathan Hickman writing there. With the three aliens inside of that monster that Vulcan got pulled into, right? Discussing his makeup. They got him open, they're taking a look at him, and they see that his mind and his body are very broken, very twisted. That makes him a very volatile person because of the power within Vulcan, right?
Right.
I think it's interesting that they're fleshing this out because I think you brought this up. If it wasn't in the first issue of X-Men Red, it had to have been in one of the S.W.O.R.D issues where Vulcan is showing some traits that are not common for the Vulcan that we know, right? And I
Right,
think this
right, right.
goes a little way of trying to explain that.
Right, right. It's like he came on the scene, which when you think about it, I've always been kind of confused at how they presented the Summers brothers when it was just Scott and Alex. Because Scott was already flawed, and it was like Marvel deliberately made Alex more flawed than Scott just to say that there
It
was
was a
another
more
brother more
damaged brother.
screwed up
Yeah.
than he was. So it was like you introduce you introduce Vulcan. I'm like, okay, you have the prime opportunity to go in a different direction. No, you make this brother more screwed up than the other. It's like, don't show me a fourth one. Don't give me a fourth. But
Yeah,
there's
supposedly there is a fourth Summers brother. Yeah, I saw that the Marvel Legends thing that came out
yeah, so
earlier this year.
it's confusing. It's almost. I just hope with this current storyline we get a consistent uh pattern, a consistent identity character for Vulcan in many ways like we've gotten with other X-Men characters. Because even when they brought back John Proudstar, and we revisited that in X-Men issue 1,
Mm-hmm.
his character was still that same dude
Mm-hmm.
consistently from back in Giant Size X-Men 1. So I'm hoping we get some more consistency with
For
Vulcan's
sure.
character.
For sure. Agreed. I'm in agreement on that one. So we cut to a scene where it looks like we've got Vulcan awakening from one of his drunken stupors that are all too common these days. We've got Petra, S.W.O.R.D, we've got Cyclops, and we've got Xavier. Hate the way this cerebral helmet is drawn on this and make it look like an egg. It looks weird. I
Right.
don't know what's going on this panel. But we start to dig through some of these questions that we've had with Vulcan in terms of Petra and S.W.O.R.D. Now we know that they messed up editorially early on in one of the other X-Men books. I can't recall which one it was, but they come out and admitted that I think they kind of tipped their hand a little bit on what they're doing with Petra and S.W.O.R.D. So they had to tweak it, instead of it just being all in Vulcan's mind that he's there. Now they're if when we get to the data page on the next page here from Professor Xavier, we realize that these are constructs that Vulcan is putting out. Now, I didn't realize that Vulcan had that ability. So much so that the construct can leave him and go teach a class on
Listen,
Krakoa.
that ain't my main
I didn't
concern.
know he could do that.
You that ain't my main concern. You know what my
What's that?
concern is?
What's that?
My concern is because I thought, alcohol and fire don't mix. Like I thought that was combustible just off the rip, like petty moment. I'm sorry. Like my dog got fire literally inside him.
He just drinking.
Like nobody should be surprised at what happens later on in this story.
Nope.
And it's their fault. It's their fault. It ain't his fault. It's their fault.
Well, especially Xavier, because after the first time they tried to tell him that Petra and Sway weren't real, he exploded, literally. How many times do we got to do that before you figure something else out? Now, when it was your son, I'm gonna give it to you. Hold on. When it was your son, when it was Legion, nah, man, we gotta take him out. We can't mess around with it. He's literally over here fighting Onslaught off of the island. Him and Kurt, right? Them two. Nobody else. Him and Kurt and the Zorn brothers are literally fighting Onslaught by themselves. A being that took you and Magneto combined powers and made some supernatural entity. So you are going to put your own son in the pokey, right? But Vulcan, there's no reason to. It's no reason to poke and prod him. If he's just gonna get upset, let him think what he gonna think. Man, what? What?
I'm literally on the next page, and I'm sorry because I read it. I read Charles's statement, and I had a. Well, you know what? If they ain't seen it by now, that's their bad. I had an immediate Doctor Strange into the multiverse of madness flashback. For y'all to be some of the smartest folk, why y'all keep telling people what y'all finna do to them? You an Omega level mutant. You can reach into his brain. You ain't even
Shut him
got to
down.
reach the moon to see this dude.
Shut him
Why is he
down.
dude? Hey, I'm finna reach into your mind. Yeah, go and tell him. Hey, come on, Wanda. Black Bolt kill you with one whisper in his mouth. Ironically, both of y'all part of the same damn Illuminati. What is wrong with y'all?
Now, with this one, though, I will give it a little bit because Vulcan, not only is he Omega level, but he probably has experience fighting, the intrusions of a telepath. Not to say that he can fight off Xavier, right?
Right.
But
You Scott
maybe
and Alex, let them chop it up with him. Make him feel good while Petra and Sway giving him his liquid inferno mixer. And just keep that thing a buck. You ain't gotta let this, you don't even go up there. The dude don't even like you. Just seeing you puts him on edge. Stay
he would
where
stay outside the door and
right.
take control of his mind and just sit
Just wait for him to drop his guard when he get good and everything like that. Go in there, make it do what it do, man. That's why don't nobody like Professor Xavier right now. That's why don't nobody want him on the quiet council.
To be one of the smartest men in the Marvel universe, he has so little tact. Like so little tact. He is the most people person. Like he's the man of the people, right? He's all for the children, but he is the worst people person. He's terrible. He is absolutely terrible.
I'm gonna say this now. This me. I'm gonna go back. It's revisionist history. They just recently started writing that dude like that. And when I say recently, he wasn't written like that in the 60s. He wasn't written like that in the 70s. He wasn't written like that in the 80s. It was in the 90s when they started trying to,
give him a little bit more.
They was very organic how they did it. And it was like, remember when he did this? This what he really, really did to Gene.
Yeah, right. Like Proteus, how they retcon Proteus as basically just like genetic testing with him and Moira. Like, oh, for real? Because the animated series, you was getting ready to lay your life down for Proteus. That's what I see.
Man, listen, it's one of the things where it's like I just love the comic book history. Like if you just read it, you get to sit back and appreciate changes and everything, changes that work, changes that didn't work. It's crazy, but yeah, we're gonna keep going. My bad.
No problem. So now, Professor X and Cyclops have confronted Vulcan. They've let him know once again that Petra and Sway are not really there. Right? They are constructs that you are putting forth. Gets a little bit upset and blows up the summer house on the moon.
Right after being offered a margarita.
So I'm trying to figure out. So did they just all get fast tracked resurrection because he's up on his feet? I don't see a sometime later You know, it looked like literally that just happened, and hours later he's just back on the sword station. So I'm thinking, damn, so that mutant royalty stuff really, that's for real. You meant that for real. You mean you blew up one of the founders of the country and got fast tracked through resurrection? And you
Yeah,
free?
yeah.
Okay.
And there's some inconsistency with that one because if we looked at when we look at the five, and this is on another storyline with Lorna X-23, when they brought her back, they brought her back with an entire adamantium skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't supposed to. They were only supposed to bring her back with her claws being adamantium. So when, you know, Kaizo Slevin would call this lazy writing. If the five are able to put you, when you come back out, you good, any imperfections, that if Vulcan just, not when he came back from the fall, but this Vulcan that just blew himself up, they should have been able to ascertain any issues within him and bring him back. No problems whatsoever.
Not if they didn't have, I think, and I think that's what they're trying to get to here when they confront him. So until Wanda made that waiting room for them in Trial of Magneto, what she did at the end of that event, or whatever, she basically gave them access to all the mutants that they had lost prior to Cerebro coming online. Vulcan didn't have a backup in Cerebro, so the only thing that they could reboot is this new broken form of Vulcan. So
I'm gonna
that
go with
that
that one.
that
I'm, listen,
part I
I'm gonna go
see.
with that one. Listen, I like that. I like that. I'm gonna go with that. That makes.
I think what they're trying to say to him is, hey, look, man, we got these fresh backups now, so we can get you right, but you got to accept that it's something wrong with you right now.
Right.
Like,
I'm
you
a
got to
dog
come
ain't
to terms
accepting.
with the fact that Petra and Sway not here.
Going to your point though, we didn't know he could do this. Like my dog on some
No,
whole.
yeah, I had no idea he could do this. I had no
Like
clue.
you said, not only did you create the construct, but the construct left your presence, your mental observation, your visual observation, and went and taught class
And
someplace.
taught a class on Krakoa. I'm like, yo, what kind of power set did this man have now? Like, all of a sudden, it's like that myth that you only use 10% of your brain. Well,
We're gonna find out because I think later on, it's kind of
mhm,
like hinted at later on, so we gonna go.
for sure. For sure. So back on Sword Station 2 in Arakko, we've got. I mean, it looks like Vulcan's talking to himself for a second, but still talking to Petra and Sway. He's approached by the ultimate snake and Abigail Brand, and she is working her magic early. She's trying to get in there. She's trying to poke and prod and position herself with Vulcan to get a powerful ally, like always, because that's what Abigail Brand does, right? And you're thinking that, oh, well, maybe that was her first stop. Go and get the most powerful mutant and build around that. That's not how she operates. She's already has an X-Men team gathered. It is made up of, let's see if I can get through everybody. We got Cable, we got Eaton Vesey, we got who's the guy in the do-rag? Who is that?
Random. I think that's random.
Here we go. Yep, Random, and we've got Mantelo and Frenzy. Now,
Manifold. Manifold.
yep,
You said mantle? Yeah, Mentalo. My bad.
Mentalo.
Yeah,
I
Mentalo.
call
Yeah.
him Mantelo. Early on, it doesn't really seem like anybody's with Abigail Brand's bullshit in this new X-Men team that she's putting together. In her estimation, the Kree need to know that there's a S.W.O.R.D team watching over them. Eden Vesey puts an end to that colonizer BS real quickly, and that's why. They have their own way. They've cultivated their own planet, and they don't take too kindly to handouts or to being taken care of. So why press that button? What's in it for you? Now, clearly this is not the correct diplomatic move. I think I can see that easily. So what you got going on? I love that like there's no wasted time. It's obvious to us. So you think a lot of times it should be obvious to the people who are involved,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's very
At least one
obvious
out
to
of them.
Manifold and Frenzy. It's very obvious to Manifold and Frenzy that it's a load of bullshit.
I like the way he handles it. My grandmother used to say all the time, just because you know something don't mean you have to speak on it. And I like how he coyly handles the situation. Like, listen, hold on. I didn't peep game. Now, I'm not going to call you out in front of everybody, but I'm going to let you know that I see you. And you going to know that I see you, that I see you, see me, see you. And after that, we had this understanding. I'm going to peace out. Because you don't want me to really say what I know.
Yeah.
You
You
know what I'm
know,
saying?
let's
Because
get to it.
I threw cards out there subtly.
Oh
He
yeah,
threw
yeah. Let's get there. So he asked her straight up, like, "This is their planet, isn't it?" And she
right.
goes, "The pieces that we allow them to have, sure. The rest is a diplomatic zone." Hold on. I thought it was called Planet Arakko. What you mean? The pieces that you allow them to have. Also, brings up a little tidbit that everybody seems to just let go to the wayside. What happened to Peter Gyrick? Now he was in your possession. He was with you. What happened to him?
Watch this. He didn't even want to go there though. Notice what he said off the rip. I'm out.
Right,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't want to have this conversation with you in front of these people. Man, I'm out. No, holla at me. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
I got questions.
Like,
I got
since
questions.
she had him catch the S.W.O.R.D station, he probably was running that scenario through his head. Like, man, all of that just happened too crazy. Like out of nowhere, I gotta catch a spaceship and reroute it, and then now Peter Gyrick turned up dead. Like all of this stuff is just happening all together. It's happening too convenient, happening all at the same time. It would seem as though somebody got their finger on the button on everything.
Listen,
And
I love
everybody knows Abigail Brand, though. Like, this is not a
exactly
new trait from the character. This is not breaking a mold or breaking a trend. They know. You know she's
that
escaping.
part. What you said right there. This is not breaking the trend for Abigail Brand. It is evolving the character of Manifold. And I'm loving that because we got an established character like Abigail Brand. She's made some appearances on some cartoons and everything like that. Her character is established. With Manifold, we've been seeing him through these new X-Men titles, his character, his integrity. You're getting to know who he is. One, why they don't want to call him an Omega level mutant. That is exactly what that is. But two, he is somebody that's like, hey, I got standards at the end of the day. I'm gonna fight for what's right. Even doing doing the Wakandan storyline, the intergalactic, he was visibly shaken by his role in being used to kill people. Like this is somebody who takes his powers seriously. And regardless of how he may have felt about Henry Peter Gyrich, I'm of the mindset that he takes life period seriously. So I'm loving that. When we talked about when we reviewed Black Panther and we talked about how these characters aren't acting like their character and the language isn't matching the character, the language here is matching the character spot on. The one that's already established and the one that's taking the evolutionary turn.
Agreed. Agreed. Manifold bounces. She corrals the rest of the team and asks them, hey, just by chance, if I did throw him out the air a lot, does anybody here have a problem with it? No peek from Vulcan, Metallo, Random, Frenzy, or Cable. Cable was just, he's loading up. So, yeah, nobody has a problem. And just in the nick of time, as Abigail Brand is finishing her introductory sentence, we gotta move. We gotta get on the go because there's a crisis. We just formed a team 5 minutes ago, but there's a crisis that we need to answer to right now.
Let me ask you a question. How did you feel about that part though? When she asked him, hypothetically speaking, if I did do it, who got a problem with it? And the expressions on their faces. How did you feel about that?
So I feel like it reads because Gyrick was an enemy to mutants. It would be like if somebody came to you and told you that they, oh, how do I say this without getting YouTube to strike us? If somebody said that they took David Duke to a better place, would anybody be jumping out being like, "Oh God, no, no, you are ripping apart our moral fiber"? I don't think so. Now, if you involve them, you give them a little bit more details. I think the only one that I question whether or not she actually gonna sit on her tongue about it is Frenzy.
Yeah,
Because Frenzy peeped it out first, and also Frenzy is a diplomat. So I feel like if there's anything in there that could lead back to them and cause them any type of political strife behind killing Gyrick, then she has a responsibility to report it, do something about it if she
right,
knows it's
right.
going on.
Which is why I asked that question, because some of these characters could be caught in a conflict of interest. And
Mm-hmm.
Abigail Brand only has one interest. Your interest can't
Abigail Brand.
conflict with her
Mm-hmm.
interest. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you see what she just did to Henry Peter Gyrick. If you got any moral concerns about this, you could show up on her bad side without knowing it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, and I didn't even take it that way. You're right. She could be just weeding out any future weak links, anybody else that she needs to
right.
remove. That's a good point. That's a good point. All right, so we are in the Morrowlands of Arakko, a place that's filled with a lot of poets and artists, and didn't know that Arakko had these types of people there. But hey, they still act like a Cree. They still act like the Cree, and I think that's a dope thing to kind of flesh out. Is the It's not so much a lust for war, but an innate kind of reaction towards survival. Right? There is no situation where you are going to put these people in and they falter or turn their backs and run.
It's a culture, and I like it. And I think this reaffirms what we got during the X-Men run, Ten of Swords, when we were talking about these two nations and how the Iraqis couldn't coexist with the Krakoans just because it was two different cultures. It wasn't necessarily one was right and one was wrong. One was just used to one way of life over an extended period of time. And if it's almost like how you and I conduct ourselves right now would be foreign to how ourselves would have conducted ourselves during the slave trade. Just
Yeah.
completely different. And it would have been not one was wrong, one was right. Just that's two different lifestyles. So I like how they're touching back on it. They are not a warlike race. I don't want to say that. They are a race that don't believe in backing down. From the strongest to the weakest, they're not backing down.
Yes. Anybody. They out there throwing up God
Yeah.
illusions. They throwing illusions at these robots.
Right.
They don't
They
care.
about that.
They
Look,
do
pull
not
up.
care.
Look, the Iraqis are the epitome of, if you could look in the dictionary and pull up had a picture by it.
Right. No, for sure. They are pull up for sure.
Well, pull up. So
Smoke.
yeah,
If Smoke had a body, it'd be in a creek.
yes, exactly.
All right, so Cable body slides the team in to fight the progenitors, is what they're calling it. And Abigail Brand describes them as a world mind level civilization of unethical space scientists with computer brains. Kind of looks like a
The Celestials.
celestial. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't say celestial. Yes, kind of resembling a celestial, only a little bit more techno organic, and from a
Yeah.
different place. So somehow they just arrived here on Arakko. I guess nobody's asking the question where they coming from or why, but we just fight, right? We just fight. We fight. That's what
And
we
it,
do.
so what wormhole did they come through that nobody saw them come? Because that had to be how they got there.
Like
Because
she just got an alert, like all of a sudden these 200-foot monsters is out here laying waste to everything, vaporizing shit. Where did
so
they come from?
so they so they skipped past the whole Kree Galactic Empire. Wait, so they skipped past the whole Wakanda Empire. Ain't nobody notified here, Rocky. They was
What
on
what good
the
is the sword station if you can't see them coming? If they just arrive and they be like, oh, there they go. You can go get a regular old satellite for that. Yeah.
we ain't gonna do that. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna do it because when he said it, it made all the sense in the world, and he's known for just saying it. We gonna call it. They gave us a Kaizo Sled. That's what that was. They Kaizo Slevenders. That's what that's gonna be. They Kaizo Slevenders.
Mm.
Lazy writing. That's it. Come on, man.
Little
But
bit.
anyway,
For sure.
we ain't gonna let that take away from the story. Go on, go. My bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you good. So, let's see here. Cable figures out the progenitor that has the telekinetic abilities and decides that's the one he should go after. Only the progenitor finds him first. Trying to find a way to say this without saying something pause worthy. Draws out his arm from his body, draws out his entire load, his entire techno organic load.
Can I get a full time? 30 seconds? Why you standing there? You just teleported 5 people. This dude is not up on you like you on the ground. He's standing miles up in the sky. Fast as his tongue for it to get on your arm and that be that. You a whole damn telepath, telekinetic. Where's your shield at? You know what? Never mind. Go ahead.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I'm guessing that the telekinetic abilities of the progenitor is greater than that of Cable. I think it's interesting that he's the first one to get attacked, though. I think that's something that'll pop back up in the book later on, so that's something to note.
Why he
But they
didn't
do
move?
take.
I think everybody did some people. He just
Mhm.
stood there. Yeah, okay, we're gonna go keep going. Come on, I ain't gonna do that. We
Takes
keep
the
going.
whole techno-organic virus from him, right? Seems
Right.
to be downloading the information from it.
He
Cable
sucked it up
lets
like
him know
soup. Yeah.
that without. Go ahead.
No, I said he sucked it up like soup. I don't,
Yeah, yep, pause. Yep, I was trying to stop saying that. I was trying to avoid saying he sucked up the virus. I was trying to avoid saying he sucked up his load.
that's what they gave us, man. We ain't making this
No,
stuff.
literally,
Making it, y'all. We up. The picture
the
literally had.
progenitor sucks up Cable's load. Jesus Christ. Um, but he says without it though, he has trouble balancing his telekinesis. So that in turn works on the works a little bit with the progenitor that took his powers. He's having some errors. He's going critical. Now,
Right.
whichever one this damn, what toy does that look like?
A Rubik's Cube.
The Bop It
Okay.
progenitor. We'll call him the
Right.
Bop It progenitor.
I went old school with the Rubik's Cube. That's what it. But you
Or
right.
Rubik's Cube. What is the one? It used to have the it's not sorry. It was like a circle. You press the but Simon, yeah, Simon. There you go.
Simon.
So the Simon progenitor evaporates Cable, gets him up through. In threat. Done. Now. I'm still I'm struggling with why we are sending a group of 4 while we haven't called the S.W.O.R.D Station 1 for backup. Right? All of this stuff should be suspicious to the people on the ground. Why is it only us 4? Why have they only attacked Cable? They've taken 2 shots so far. Both of them went to Cable. Ain't nobody asking these questions. What are they here for? Why? Is there a rhyme or reason to this?
If you add what I said with what you said, with what you said, with what I said, that's why I'd have pieced out like Manifold did.
Yeah, it's I feel like
if the readers been rocking with us like we've been rocking with them, they know Abigail been messing with Cable from day one. This how she got Peter Jyrick off the station.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's very obvious to me as the reader, but again, we have an advantage in that way, right? So maybe it's not so obvious what's going on to the people on the ground. But in any case, you do get another peek into the way of the Akri, right? Another one of these artists. She's not anything to do. She didn't have any real power. She's able to make glowing boxes, but charges full head on at the sorry robot and gets dusted as well.
Hold on. Before we say she did, hold on, cause see, I get what you just said. Cause I looked and Mentalo said all she could do was create a light show. But Buddy, the robot said, no, she a threat.
He did. No, you're right. He literally said threat detected.
You got to go. She got to go. So I don't know. Like I said, I see what you saying, and I'm seeing what Mantallo said, but I'm looking at the thing. He's an all threat detective. He treated her just like he treated
Like
Cable.
he treated Cable. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Hey, she got to go. So but it's one of the things, and like I said, not only why you said it, but it is something that plays along as we go further along into the story, where they talk about the powers of some of these Iraqis in comparison to other Iraqis. So
For sure. For
I
sure.
see, yeah, definitely why you said it.
So yeah, no. Back to the Mantle Croak. She barely had the power. You know, she could only make the glowing cubes. Frenzy try to explain to him like, look, man, this is the way that this is just their way. Like this is their culture. You know, you kind of have to get with the program and realize that like we need to work with them as opposed to trying to be the saviors of them. These aren't Americans. They know these aren't New
Right,
Yorkers. You know what I'm
right.
saying? These are people who have warred for thousands of years for everything that they've gotten. It don't feel natural to them if they haven't fought to get it. So of course they're
I
not
like
just
how
going to sit back and allow people to take stuff from them on their land.
right. I like how I think the Fisher King, Fisherman says it. There's a difference in fighting for someone and fighting with someone. You know,
It's not
there's a
helping for all doing it. Then it's tactics.
yeah. So I
Mhm.
like that because I think it's a I think it's a powerful message because sometimes we do casually get the two confused. Oh no. If I'm here to fight with you, not fight for you.
Mhm.
No, we got to do this thing together. So I think it's very, like I said, the culture and everything like that. You and I have been talking about it. It's a nice. I'm almost of the mindset. I wish the dude that was writing this story was writing Black Panther. Yeah, I said
Oh, Al Ewing for sure.
it.
Yeah. Oh, you
I
another
said it.
Ultimates? Yeah.
I said it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
I ain't
please.
taking it back.
Yes, please. All right. So, excuse me. Abigail Brand instructs Vulcan to start herding the Akri back and to set a hard perimeter so that they can't get involved. Completely adversarial, aggressive, unnecessary. You gonna reboot everybody that you lost today. Let them fight. Let them fight. But again, the only one who seems to realize that that's horse shit is Frenzy. Shout out to the black characters in this book. This book, this
But
book.
once again, like I said, I wish because I'm like, it would be like okay, no disrespect. We're gonna keep it a buck. Grand scheme of things, just in life general. Because let's be clear, Frenzy and Manifold have always been portrayed as black characters, not characters who happen to be black.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even when you look at Frenzy doing her debut during the early days when she was a member of the Acolytes and everything like that, it was for a cause. My people, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I could easily say, okay, that's kind of like, how, black, the Black Panthers and everything. That because she's always like, I'm down for mutants. Even she done been in a whole relationship with Scott Summers, and this was when he was running stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at Manifold like, hey man, I know I'm black, but I'm proud Australian and everything like that. We would be in the room, you and I, being who we are, experience what we've experienced in our lifetime, regardless of the age, you and I would be in the room sitting up here looking like this. If we were Manifold, we'd be like this. Also, I just happen not to be available. And especially if something targeted our home, we're going to always question something that targets our home. It targeted his home,
Mm-hmm.
then like you said, Frenzy, what do we value most? Watch this. Watch how I play this. We're going to always, the bag, she looking at Abigail Brand. Hey, man, you might be getting ready to mess this bag up. If we think somebody getting ready to mess up the bag, we looking at them like, so I'm loving that Al Ewing he's locked in. I'm just gonna say he's locked in. He locked in. He got his ear to the ground and everything like that. He got a well diverse group of friends. He, he pay attention to him.
If I could say
That's
one
what
more
I'm gonna say.
thing on him, he also look at what they're giving him. Abigail Brand, Vulcan, Thunderbird, Sunspot, Magneto, right? Orcus, Arakko, Krakoa. They even lent him Professor X for this issue. Look at what he's getting. I'm not gonna drag this review back into Black Panther. I promise you I'm not. But when you criticize the black writers on Black Panther, focus on the scope and what they're given to work with, as opposed to what I'm looking at right now in this damn book. It's a
Right.
lot different. The scope is a lot different.
I thought about that. And it was actually when I was reviewing issue 3, Deadliest of the Species. It's one of those things, and I understand being given to work with, but we all start somewhere. If I got to go back to Jeff Johns or something like that, if you invest in the mythos, because you and I are comic book fans, we're comic book fans. There are characters that we want to see that ain't showed up in a minute. Well, if you are truly invested in these mythos when you come on to these books, because we look at Al Ewing, it ain't that he's just a phenomenal writer and he's being given some phenomenal characters to work with. This dude be going all the way back, bringing stuff up from happening back in the day with these characters. Like he'll make you sit back and say, "Wait a minute, damn, he brought." So it's like when you and I talk about Black Panther, and like I said, it's not to rag on the writers, but it's like go back and pull on the rich history of these characters that they have and bring it forward. There are so many different characters that that T'Challa has come across. I said to myself the other day, I don't want to see Killmonger for another 2-3 years.
We don't need to.
I
We
don't want
don't
to see
need
him.
to.
I don't. That's overkill. It's way too many other rich characters out there. They just introduced a new one. They got Mr. Wakibi, the dude that was working with the dummies and stuff. He's got so many characters that you can bring that need to give him his own rogues gallery of villains. Don't bring me. I don't want to see Killmonger for another 3-4 years. I don't. If he do, I need to see him fighting somebody else, or give him a character arc where he's gonna become a good guy. But I do not want to see him fighting T'Challa no more. I don't. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that.
For sure. For sure.